The story of the Max. Today on Nova.
On today's episode, we have a young Max here as he walks across his fields that he plows and works, with the various vegetation surround him, with his shed, with his tools nearby. As you can see, here he inspects his work, his fine art, his magnum opus, and he still takes his break, perfectly relaxed of his work. A peaceful life that only few of us can ever attain. Perhaps we can learn from him. Here, yet still, he's perfectly fine. He displays the qualities of any normal man, going about his business and his free time, as we all do sometimes, except only one of us. So, why is it that compels him? Well, we simply do not know, because he is beyond us. He's beyond our comprehension. Brought to extinction 10 years ago, he is the last remaining of his specimen. However, not all is lost, for he can live for 5 years. But what is Max? What is he? Well, as you can see, he is something beyond us, so ascorbatifying, that it is compelling to us as to what he is. But why? But how? But who? But when? But where? He be freak, he be walking with that jeet. But Max is simply too astounding for our knowledge. He creates several shadows in his being. He walks with pride. Only few are capable of even seeing him, as scientists have discovered. He is clean. However, he's a very conversational person when he comes to it, but he's so ultimately terrifying and weakifying that few ever approach him. But even in a very human-dominated society that hunts minorities, he still manages to communicate, and he implements himself in all human regards as we walk about our own lives. Here he gets his food, but more, he makes it instead, procreating. There is his son, Lorben. He converses with him, no one bats an eye. They like to compose rather than consume, as they be simply intellectual creatures. See, as he practices charity as we do, to give alms, he gives mints to his son, Lopena. As he goes to unpack his treat, he is simply happy and astounded by his father's once merciful grace, and by his charity. As he uses his little fingers with no nails, he cannot unpackage it for several seconds, having difficulties with his greasy, oily hands that he inherited from his father. But the lorpus is simply a magnificent creature. Look at that hand. He takes upon the mint and eats the latter, as to be expected from the Max's strange qualities that brings him stuff that we are simply unable to achieve, unable to replicate, as they are simply too out of this world to us, or out of humanity, perhaps. As he goes about through the fields, through the stores, through the cities, through the rural areas, through the suburbia. He goes about his own business. He goes about it himself, as we all do, so none ever look at him like this. He expresses emotions such as anger, and sadness, and grief, as we all do. So, we should truly want to save this endangered species. As it has already been extinct 20 years ago, we must work proactively and vigilant to save him, to help his family, to give him a future. As he spins and spawns, and swans and swims, you can see he is just another man, except he's not one of us. But does that make him not human? Does that make him not a part of humanity? We'll never know.